Hello, this is Karen Sunt with Talking the Five, and we are here with Steve Smith, who is currently a House representative and is running for state Senate. Did I get that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Thank you.
And why the state Senate?
Well, I had served in the Senate previously. I served there from 2010 to 2012. After they did redistricting, they mixed up all of our districts. So they put myself and another like-minded senator together. So rather than fighting each other out, I just said, well, I'll go serve in the House if I'm fortunate enough to do that, and he can stay in the Senate. And that's what we did. And then he went on to run for governor. So I'm moving back to the Senate. So started in the Senate, moved to the House, going back to the Senate.
And you're with District
11, which is southern and western part of Pinal County. So it's basically the city of Maricopa where I live, part of Casa Grande, then everything south, Arizona City and Saddlebrook and Oro Valley and Marana and places like that.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm kind of a neighbor. I'm with 16
Yes.
over there. So, and tell me, what kind of things are you wanting to change in the Senate that maybe you didn't do in the House, or you just want to continue something?
You know, there's a lot of good things that we've done over these last few years. I think one of the first things that we did was a lot of good economic policy. One of the first bills that I worked on in the Senate it's known as the Jobs Bill or the Arizona Competes Package. And because of legislation like that, not just that one, but we really had our intention, let's go and do what we can for the economy. Not to say that the government is supposed to, necessarily be getting their hands involved in the economy. I think that the best thing to do is just, offer the most attractive business atmosphere, then kind of get out of the way. And that's what we've done. And because of certain legislation that we passed, we helped Arizona move from the bottom 5 of the nation in job growth to the top 5 in the nation in job growth, which was great. Subsequently, we were ranked the #1 state in the country for new startup businesses. So if you want to start your own business, there's no other better state to do it than Arizona. And a lot of other good metrics that we did. So on top of that, we're the #1 state in the nation for Second Amendment rights, #1 in the nation for school choice. Certainly my biggest advocate policy has been working on securing our border and what we can do about that. I started raising money, private funds to put on the border so we can the feds aren't going to pay for it. If we don't have the money, then somebody's got to pay for it. So I raised a few $100,000. We're trying to put those assets down there. So there's a lot of things that we've done, and certainly a lot of things that we want to continue to work on and or finish.
So you said, who else is you working with in your district? You said you didn't want to compete with a previous legislator.
Well, when they did the redistricting, they put Senator Al Melvin and myself in the same district. And so, depending on who you speak to, a lot of people thought there was nefarious reasons behind that they wanted to see two good conservatives duke it out. Frankly, they didn't care who won. They just, as long as one of us was gone, was the idea. And I think when we sat down, we said, hey, we need more of us down here, not less of us. So that's why he was the more senior senator. He had been there longer. And I just said, you know what? We all need to be here, as many of us as possible. So that's why we decided he would run for the Senate and I would run for the House. And fortunately, by the grace of God, we won, as well as our other seatmate, Adam Quasman, great fighter for liberty as well. So we have a really good representation in our district now. And now that Senator Melvin wants to run for governor, Representative Quasman ran for Congress, that opened up 2 additional seats. So I am running with Vince Leach and Mark Fincham. They are both running for the House of Representatives. So what was Melvin, Smith, and Quasman, if this isn't confusing enough, is now Smith, Leach, and Fincham. The good news is all 6 of us seem to be pretty like-minded, so the district will continue to get good, strong, conservative representation.
Now, I just help me out here with the parties. Do you find that there's a lot of struggle in the party just to try to accomplish what they want to do? Is there some unity coming about with the Republicans? Can you give us some insight on that?
I think political parties are a lot like our families, right? If you're married, you can agree and disagree with your spouse every day on stuff. Doesn't mean you separate. Doesn't mean you hate each other. Just means you have a difference of opinion sometimes, and that's what primaries are for. In our party system. So you give the voters a chance to say, well, do you like that flavor? Do you like that one? And whichever one you like, just make sure you eat that ice cream cone right when you're done. And I think that's how it goes. So certainly, is there dissension in Democrat and Independent and Republican parties? Yeah, but I think at the end we're all we're all in together, so to speak. It is a team sport. So certainly after the primary that just ended, I would think and hope many, if not all, Republicans are certainly on a united front. If they truly believe in their party principles, and if their person advanced or did not advance, we hope that they would still support the nominee, as the Democrats do, and as I think you see most people do in most states. So is there stuff back and forth? Sure. I don't think it's anything different than you see anywhere else.
Well, back to some of the things that you accomplished. You said this job bill you passed. Are you wanting to add to that? I mean, right now I think people appreciate some of the smaller jobs that have come in, but I'm hearing that they're waiting for the bigger positions. I met a guy who was a marketing agent, and he is kind of he has a job that's just underqualified. Do you see us fixing those kind of situations?
You certainly hope so. I mean, my gosh, hey, any job that's available, we want to bring here. I had a meeting with the Commerce Authority not too long ago with a firm that we're trying to bring to Arizona to open up several offices. So I think that's something that many of us are always working on. But even, rather than trying to import many jobs too, just look right here in Arizona. You have the switching yard at Picacho Peak. If you don't know about that, that's the Union Pacific Railroad wants to come in and basically build a switching yard near the heart of my district. And that has been locked up in our state land department and with the governor's office for years. And the UP has about a $50 million check ready to go. You're looking at initially potentially hundreds of jobs down the line to hopefully and thousands. But that is a homegrown project right here that we are sitting on that we could and should be doing more of. I ask the land department often, what's the progress? Where are we at? How do we get this moving? So I think, whenever you look around the state, yeah, we want to try to import jobs. We want to be attractive to businesses out of state. We want to be the helping hand to the businesses that are in state to say, hey, if you have stuck it out through the tough times, we want to help you and make sure that your business is successful. But at the same time, my gosh, when you have some of these opportunities right here, you look at, Rosemont Mine down south, a mine that could produce just untold amounts of revenue for the state. You look at all of the federal land that we need to get our hands on that are constitutionally owed to us, that we can sell, and the majority of that money goes into education, into our general fund to help our state. There's so much that we can do. We've been working on them, but you can't fight it alone. You need all hands on deck, so to speak. So I think for the example you gave, of course, there's things that you can always do more, but I want to especially hit that low-hanging fruit that's right here in our state that we could and should be doing all we can to make sure that happens too. And I've been working on that and will continue to do so.
Well, that sounds promising that you're supporting homegrown, not just the mom and pops, but the bigger productions as well. After all, they do help with our education. And what about our education? Where do you see that going?
Where's education going? My gosh, isn't that the $1 million question? Or is it the $317 million question?
Well, I didn't mean to simplify it too much.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and of course, my reference is, the lawsuit that was handed down that says the legislature will have to pay or owe $317 million towards K-12. Listen, here's my stance on education. Well, first, our funding is at record levels for the state's portion of funding towards K-12. It's at record levels. So I know that we have made it a concentrated effort these last few years to actually beef up the reserves in there, which we have done. I am always on the advocate side saying, look, there's no sense in just throwing money at a problem. It's got to be targeted money. And so I come from a family of teachers. My wife's a teacher, my sister's a teacher, my brother's a teacher, and I can go up and down the list. And I am pretty aware of this fact. Yes, you can have a lot of money in your classrooms, and yes, you can have fancy technology and whiteboards and this and this and this. I believe the predominant factor for our kids to learn the best that they can in the school is the person at the front of the room. It's the quality of the teacher that you have there. And so if you have quality teachers, you're going to have this trickle-down effect of you're just ultimately going to yield quality students. Funding is going to help, and all these other things are going to help, but I think it's the teacher. So what I've been working on is the performance pay model for teachers, to say, look, if you have a teacher that has demonstrated they are moving this child that was here to here, you give them these different benchmarks and these different metric systems, you need to reward that teacher. And we can do that with existing Prop 301 money and other pots of money that we have available to do it with. And all I want to say is, when you identify the good teachers, pay them more. When you identify the teachers that aren't doing their job well, pay them less in terms of their bonus money. And what's going to happen is good old competition kicks in, where the cream will rise to the top. If you're the principal of a school, you're going to identify, well, wait a minute, why are these 17 teachers getting max bonuses, but these 4 are not? Well, maybe I need to look harder at what's going on in these 4 classrooms. And maybe, just maybe, you either motivate those teachers a bit more or you replace them. And whatever the case is, I think you'll start to see your school rise. And I think you have competition. Some of the performance pay money that I envision would be tied to the district-wide as well. So when your school does well, good, you get an extra bonus. Well, maybe if your whole district does well, they all get extra bonuses, so we're in it together. But that is my theory on education. School choice is a must. I'm an advocate proponent of school choice, and so I think when you do that, when you give the parents the choice of where to put their children, and then when you give the teachers the freedom and, more importantly, the incentive to actually be the best teachers that they can, that's how I think you fix education. Don't just keep writing more checks and hoping that they're going to go to the right places.
Well, that actually sounds like a strategy out of, I think her name's Michelle Ray. She's from Washington, D.C. She totally revamped the whole education system in Washington, D.C., and it sounds very similar to what she did over there. So hopefully that will be a good model to follow.
I hope so. It's an important issue, and it's like anything else. I mean, you can just keep throwing money at a problem. You've got to fundamentally fix it. It's like our healthcare system. It's like our VA problem. It's like everything else. You just can't keep writing checks and go, well, I've done my... It's like CPS. You can't just, well, here's the big check. Go take care of it now. No, you need a fundamental change in how you were doing it. It got really bad for a reason. And just giving them more money usually doesn't make it work. You've got to go in and change it.
Well, that's a lot to deal with, and thank you so much. I hope you do very well, and it sounds like you have at least a direction to take us or lead us to. So thank you so much for your time.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for the interview. God bless you all. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.